Welcome, guys. This is the ELEET Review Podcast. We have a very special episode here today. This will be a collaboration with a few daily Raimi accounts here from Instagram. We got Fruitcake Norman. We got
Cup of fruitcake.
Harry Hits Balcony Daily, and we got the Daily So Good, or better known as Danny, Ricardo, and Ryan here. Make sure you guys give them a follow on Instagram. We got great accounts here. If you guys are Raimi fans, we post the same daily clip every day. And what we're doing today on this episode is we all will be given just a basic Spider-Man 4 Raimi plot line. What we would have liked to see if Raimi ever got to release Spider-Man 4. This isn't anything like super professional, or like we're not all directors and writers, but we're all just, saying a good plot here that we wanted to see from Spider-Man 4 personally. So let's go and dive right in. I think we'll all just each kind of go individually. We'll start with you, Fruitcake Norman here, Ricardo. And we'll go ahead and just get into it. You want
to
Yeah, I think you said you first.
Okay. Straight off the bat, I don't really like the Vulture idea. Let's just do the Lizard. Lizard, they've been building that up for 2 movies, and they should just make Dr. Connors a lizard, like, if you guys agree.
I agree with that.
I would have liked to have seen that, yeah.
Like, they did, I think that's where, they were going through with the Amazing Spider-Man. That's why, I think that's part of the reason why they did the Lizard, kind of, because they were going to do it, but then they didn't for the Raimi Spider-Man, so then they decided to go ahead and do for the Amazing Spider-Man. But anyway, let me get into it. So, I'm not sure who's going to be some more main characters. I think I want to have, it would be really cool if we had, minor street characters that are superheroes in Spider-Man 4, but not they allude that they are superheroes, that they're not, so that you can expand the Raimi universe. I think that a nice cameo by Matt Murdock, Daredevil, would be pretty cool, but not as Daredevil as Matt Murdock, like how we're seeing in No Way Home.
Yeah.
Also, I think which would be pretty cool is I think that we should see Doctor Strange, but as a doctor. That'd be so cool. Because somehow Doctor Strange exists in the Raimi universe. That's what.
Yeah. People forget that.
Yeah, he does, and yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool. And if the early 2000s movies, which is kind of like the old MCU, but it wasn't really connected, but there was a bunch of early 2000s superhero movies. I think it'd be really cool if they ended up making a team up movie where Spider-Man, Ghost Rider, 2003 Hulk, 2000
X-Men,
Daredevil, X-Men. Yeah, that'd be so cool. And Blade, cool. Yeah. But things happen, so.
Weirdly enough, they did try to cross over Blade and Spider-Man. A lot of people don't know that, but Sony wanted to do that.
Yeah, I did not know that.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's all I got for right now. I didn't really think much. I just said basically just the Lizard,
Yeah.
Lizard would be pretty cool. And a secondary villain, actually, I just got a cool idea in my head.
Huh?
I got the coolest idea. They find Doc Ock underwater, and they take his arms and they do something with it. It'll be like Spider Slayers or something. They build them off of Doc Ock's arms. That'd be so cool.
Be cool.
Alistair Smythe or something.
Oh, that would have been cool, yeah.
Yeah. Connect the other movies.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, cool. Nice to hear that. We can go next, Ryan, over here.
Yeah, I'll go next. Yeah, going back to what you said, the Lizard for sure could have been pretty emotional if done right, because they kind of built up their relationship throughout the movies. I think that really could have been an emotional movie. Instead of in Tasm, they kind of just shoved it in there and didn't really do much with the Lizard in that. I think it could have been done way better in Spider-Man 4. But yeah, I would definitely have the Lizard as a villain, probably Black Cat as a secondary villain. I feel like that could have been. I know we had all this romance stuff throughout the 3 movies with MJ and Peter, but I feel like throwing Black Cat in there could have been interesting, and she's an interesting character. That definitely could have.
Yeah. Another reason to get.
All right, so then Danny, you want to go?
All right, so obviously there's a lot of information out there about what apparently was going to be. I know both Sam Raimi and Avi Arad had their own different visions. Sam Raimi wanted to go back to basics, have just Vulture, and then Avi Arad None of this was ever confirmed, but I read some article years ago about how Avi Arad apparently wanted like 6 villains in the movie out of nowhere, basically but apparently it wasn't going to be Sinister Six. Like it was almost going to be like Spider-Man 3 with like each villain being sort of in a different storyline. I wouldn't have done that, obviously. What I would have done, to try and separate myself from the Sam Raimi story, because I love the Vulture script and all that, or at least what we know about it. I think it was cool. But I would have cut Vulture out. And I agree with Fruitcake Norman there. Like, the Lizard has clearly been built up, but I would have kept Doc Connors and built his character up a little bit more and saved him for Spider-Man 5, because there was a planned 5th film. So basically what I would do, I really wanted to bring in Black Cat, because that was going to be in Sam Raimi's script, except she was going to be like,
love that.
She was going to be like, it was going to be a weird take on her called the Vultress or something.
And Hathaway was supposed to play her.
Oh god.
Yeah. And I don't hate that. Like, I'm not the type of person who needs it to be exactly like the comics, but Black Cat's just one of my favorite Spider-Man characters.
Yeah,
I would have actually made her like the main love interest. And like MJ's still probably there, but like, I think we've spent enough time with this back and forth with them. I would have wanted to see something different. So we would have had Black Cat sort of be both Spider-Man and Peter's like main fling there. But the main villain I would have made actually Carnage. I would have, because we brought in the symbiote, and we could have done a thing where he throws Harry's pumpkin bomb into the cage in Spider-Man 3. A little bit was left in that fire. Augmented the symbiote and turned it red, and he could have made it Carnage. So basically what I would have had is like, we would have introduced him by having Cletus Cassidy. He's obviously infamous like serial killer and crazy dude. We would have had him being like, I would have downgraded him, he still would have been a killer, but I would have made him more like a sort of a smart street thug. And the reason that Spider-Man works with Black Cat so much is because she has obviously that knowledge of the criminal underworld, and they look for Cletus Cassidy together. But every time they encounter him, he does these most insane crimes that like with feats that are unhuman, and they don't know why. And then finally, like midway through the film, you reveal, oh my gosh, he's got the symbiote. So what they do is they manage to get a sample of it and bring it back to Dr. Connors. And that's where we build up a bigger relationship with them and sort of develop the friendship between Peter and Dr. Connors. And along the line, they work with a way to defeat it. Because I would have taken away, like, I know it wasn't like this in the comics, but because it's such a similar villain, I would have taken away the ability to like use like church bell sounds as a weakness against symbiotes, because then it would just be too easy for him. So they Dr. Connors and Peter, they need to find a way to defeat this symbiote without like sonic frequencies. And obviously they build a relationship, maybe throughout the way they find out that he's Spider-Man. And also I would have had a lot of it be like sort of him dealing with the aftermath of losing Harry. The main theme is sort of like redemption after, he sort of lost his way with the black suit and did a lot of bad stuff. He messed up his relationship with MJ, I would have done this because they built this up in Spider-Man 2 and never explained anything in Spider-Man 3. I really think Aunt May knew that he was Spider-Man, and I would have had a moment where she I don't know if I would have killed her off or anything, but she would have found out, or at least just revealed that she knew, and it would have been this really big emotional moment. Maybe that's what drives him to go fight the final fight or something. And I sound like there was something else I wanted to say, but now I can't remember. Oh yeah. And also because they never killed off Sandman, that was like the only villain out of the entire Raimi trilogy they never killed off. I would have brought him in, not as like a big player, he wasn't going to be out there fighting, but maybe Spider-Man goes to see him and asks him like, hey, because he was a criminal, do you know anything about Cletus Cassidy? And Sandman could be like, yeah, he's bad news, stay away from him. So yeah, that's my basic idea. Clearly I've thought a lot about it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That sounds like a great movie.
That was great.
I would watch that, yeah. Cool. All right, Aiden, you can go ahead and give yours now.
Okay. I don't know exactly how I want it to go, but I think that Shocker as like a side enemy could kind of be cool. Have him in the movie show up maybe in the first act and maybe a little bit of the second act. They could have some cool battle. I think it'd be cool to see a wedding between MJ and Peter, because like I'm sick of seeing them just like argue every single movie.
Same.
Even though marriage could possibly lead to more arguing, but I think that would be really cool. Either start out with it or end off with it. I think that would be awesome. I of course want to see more Jay Jonah talking about the villains, and want to see more Hoffman. I think that I think that after building up Mysterio for the last 3 movies, I think it'd be really cool to see him in this one, and I'm not sure exactly what his motivations would be, but he would want to kill Spider-Man, and I want to, that illusion scene in Far From Home, I want to just amp that up to like 10, and just have more scenes like that. I think that would be really cool. Then you get, he'll be the main villain, and then at the end, I think it'd be cool to have some sort of like Kingpin tease or something. Like maybe he hired Shocker or something. I don't know, but I think that it'd be cool to see Kingpin in a possible 5th movie.
I always want to see Kingpin go up against Maguire, Spider-Man.
Yeah, I feel like everything Kingpin's in, like, I feel like they always throw him away really easily. Like in Spider-Man PS4.
2003 Kingpin.
Honestly, he was a Kingpin in Daredevil film. I thought was not very well developed, but I thought Michael Clark Duncan actually played him pretty well. I actually like that performance.
Still think Vincent D'Onofrio is better.
He's phenomenal
sure.
in that show.
He's the best.
The Daredevil show is on a whole other level.
Yeah.
Bring it back, Marvel.
Marvel won't make a Disney Plus of Daredevil that good.
Well, they apparently have a controlling stock in Hulu, so let them put it on there.
Yeah, make it violent, I'm not saying make it violent just because. I'm just saying make it violent because, Daredevil is kind of a violent character. The way they handled that was so fitting of all the Netflix shows, really. Like, I wasn't huge on Luke Cage or Iron Fist, but they still, they nailed the vibe of those characters, in my opinion. And, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., man. Think about, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Ghost Rider. They completely messed up Ghost Rider and made him a Disney character.
Don't even get me started on that.
He's a Disney character in that. That's
Ghost Rider's one of my probably my all-time favorite superhero, and they just totally... I'm not the type of guy who says that it has to be exactly like the comics, but they went with Robbie Reyes, and he's the one that nobody liked, and they could have done Johnny Blaze
and Johnny Blaze was in it. You see him for a second.
Yeah, and that was the only good moment they had with Ghost Rider. I'll say they did the reveal of him really well. When she's I forget how it went, but they're fighting in that warehouse, and Quake's you don't get to decide who lives and who dies, and he's I'm not the one who decides, and he burns away. I thought that was cool, but then the way that he just was an uninteresting character, and Diego Luna was not really who I ever pictured as a Ghost Rider.
Well, they threw him in Terminator. Hey, you're a Ghost Rider, right? Yeah, be a Terminator.
I still haven't seen that.
Yeah, I haven't seen that either. Ian, was that your whole plot, by the way?
Yeah, that's all I have, I think.
Okay, I'll finish off here with mine. I went a little detailed, but I also skipped a ton of beats and kind of just went really quickly through things. A lot of things I still don't know how they would really work or why they would work. But I would start this movie out. I would start this one out about a year or two, maybe after the third one, and I would probably once again, kind of start it with Peter and MJ kind of already married. Maybe a quick montage through them having a wedding and stuff, and maybe them having just a little house in New York. And then maybe him just continuing to do fun Spider-Man stuff through that we see, life's just kind of more normal for them. He's kind of just sticking to lower crime. There hasn't been anything too big happening. They're probably thinking about kids, but I wouldn't have them have kids yet. But I would have them talk about kids in the movie probably. And then maybe have Peter have this kind of idea of maybe does he want to continue to be Spider-Man when he has kids and stuff, or does he want to just kind of leave the legacy behind? If this movie was going to be one of the final Raimi movies or something like that. And then I also was gonna kind of keep up with that whole Mysterio thing too, of maybe making him just the main villain, kind of like what Sam Raimi was kind of trying to do, because I think it would have been cool to see Sam Raimi do Mysterio.
Bruce Campbell as a Mysterio.
Something like
Fat
that.
Mysterio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would basically have him be more of like a kind of just an underground criminal type guy who just kind of is really shady, kind of more into the whole doing shady business things and kind of scamming people. Maybe like I was thinking of having maybe some scenes where he is like going to auctions and stuff and creating illusions at auctions and stealing like billions of dollars worth of things,
Oh, that's
or
cool.
That is awesome.
That'd
Yeah.
be cool.
That's very
stealing some
Mysterio.
famous things or something. And then for some reason, I don't know what would cause Peter to want to go after him or something, but maybe Peter would figure this out and want to just go out there and defeat Mysterio for some reason. And then I was thinking of maybe bringing Scorpion in to be kind of a side villain who shows up in there. Just because I'd still like to see Scorpion do something cool in some live action movies. And maybe just have him working with Mysterio. Not doing anything Sinister Six really or anything, but I would just bring Scorpion in there.
I mean, they could do it like the
I have
comics.
a question.
Yeah.
Sorry, you go ahead.
Oh, they can do it like the comics where he works with J. Jonah Jameson, Scorpion. I think that could have been
know that.
that could have been pretty cool. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
how it's done in the comics. Yeah.
I've just
Okay.
seen that in the 2000 Spider-Man game. I liked it.
Well, I got a
don't
question.
remember
What Scorpion are you gonna do? Are you gonna do the Ultimate Scorpion where he uses like that chain thing, or are you gonna use just full on Scorpion?
That's definitely the classic. That probably would have been fun.
I was just thinking like a Spider-Man PS4 type Scorpion guy, probably just pretty
Oh.
basic, but
So in a suit, basically.
yeah. But
Okay.
you know, has the sting and everything still and all that.
Wasn't Ultimate Scorpion like a hybrid of like
Well-
Scorpion DNA sort of thing?
Well, I remember he never fought Ultimate Peter Parker. He actually fought Miles Morales. He was he was like a Hispanic, big Hispanic guy that used a kind of like what Scorpion uses, like a chain with a blade on it, and it was interesting, but that's how Ultimate Universe.
He
is.
never
It's just
fought.
weird
He
things.
never fought Ultimate Peter Parker.
No, he fought Miles Morales, sir. I haven't been reading comics. He might have, 'cause
Yeah,
people
because
come.
I think he does. Yeah, yeah. No.
he does, yeah. Issue.
does.
I'm looking at issue 90. I don't want to sound like a snob here. Just Ultimate
Oh
Spider-Man.
wait!
Ultimate
that
Spider-Man
was
was
from
my
the Clone
favorite.
Saga. That's from the Clone
Yeah,
Saga, right? Yeah, that's not Scorpion. That was Peter Parker. Well, it's a version of Scorpion, but it wasn't
Okay.
Scorpion.
Yeah, I'm trying to. It's been so long, but I followed like Ultimate Spider-Man from it's basically for like the first 100 issues since when it came out. Like that was my favorite comic run. Brian
Yeah, I
Michael
forgot
Bendis
about
was
that.
amazing.
That's one of the best versions of Spider-Man in my opinion.
I love it.
It's Ultimate. Yeah.
I love the game. I love the comic line. I love
That's
the
so
Ultimate
good.
Universe in general.
That's
I love
basically
I
what
love
they're
Miles
doing in the
Morales
MCU.
too.
They're basing the MCU off of the Ultimate Universe. It's kind of interesting how it is based off of
They seem to pull
that
they seem
Iron
to
Man
pull a
suit
lot of
too.
elements.
Like the Iron Man suit in Homecoming was based off of Ultimate Iron Man.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, cool. Well, to finish off, I go really quick through this. I would somehow just have it lead up to some final act of like, I don't know, just like kind of like what Aiden was saying, just this huge like illusion where it's like, I don't know if it's at the Statue of Liberty or where, Empire State Building, something really cool set piece in New York where you could just have this huge crazy illusion stuff happening. And then, Peter has to get into a big fight with Mysterio. Maybe he almost gets killed or something like that, or I don't know, something big happens with the stakes where maybe after that fight, Peter decides like he's just going to retire as Spider-Man. And then just have him decide to, he probably defeats Mysterio, of course. And then, maybe he hangs up the suit, and then I don't know what would happen for the future there, but that's just how I would end it if it was like we're saying the fourth movie is kind of the final one or something. But that's basically my plot there. But nothing
Okay.
too crazy.
I dig it.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. So and then I'll ask you all one more question because I usually like to ask people this question here. But if you guys want to talk about, I guess, what the Raimi movies mean to you, or how much you like the Raimi movies, I guess we can start with each of you. We can start with you first, Fruitcake Norman. Just I guess what made you want to have your daily account, or I guess be a part of that and everything.
Well, I was watching Spider Side's edits, YTPs, And
Oh, yeah, those
everybody
videos are
knows
good.
about those.
Yeah.
Those are the best.
hour-long
Yeah.
one, the famous
At
hour-long
Rent's
one.
End.
At Rent's End. So I was watching At Rent's End,
Okay.
and I was just like enjoying it and stuff. And then I saw Norman Osborn become the fruitcake man, and I was like, man, that's so funny. He becomes a fruitcake man. So then I decided to make an account, but at first I was called Back to Formula, and at that time there was such thing as a Back to Formula.
Was that you?
What was me?
Back to Formula Daily.
I was Back to Formula for literally 3 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
and then
'cause there-
okay. Okay.
And then Peter
There is an
Screams came
act.
to
There
me.
is one of those that he's inactive, or he or
Okay.
she. I don't know.
Okay.
And Peter Screams came to me and he said, yeah, somebody's already that. That guy's gone now, but, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then he said, but then I looked back and I said, fruitcake man. Let's do fruitcake Norman Daly. So I did fruitcake, and it was and I thought it was really funny and stuff. And you know, it's kind of like, you know, it's such a weird scene that was so small, but now I've just made it so big. Like, oh, picked up a fruitcake, and you just all he's doing is picking up a fruitcake. Like, but anyway, that's how my account was made
Oh, cool.
on December 10th, 2020. And
Nice.
what the Raimi films mean to me, I mean, they're just so iconic. Like, you know, nobody else played Spider-Man like Tobey Maguire. Nobody else ever will. Those movies are like, they don't feel like they're trying to build a universe. They don't like, you know, they're their own films, and they feel like they're set in a comic book world and are not trying to be too realistic. And that's something that I really like about that. I really like the suit. The suit is just like the most amazing suit ever made in any film. Like the silver webbing is just awesome. And it's like not like, it's not gonna have a bunch of seam lines like the new Spider-Man where there's just like a little bit of black there and there's cartridges on the sides, and he has tech and he's instant kill mode, which I think is so stupid. But I'm sorry, Hollanders. But like, it's just like, you know, it suspends reality where it says, okay, he's gonna just be wearing spandex and he's Spider-Man. Just make it, it's a comic book movie, guys. Like it's amazing. Dr. Octopus is amazing. Green Goblin, he's so corny, it's hilarious and fun. Like, you know, like,
Yeah.
His suit is scary. I remember that jump scare that came out of nowhere. It's so stupid, but it still scares me to this day. And no one says no to me. Like, that's, oh my god. And when he screams, it's so funny. Oh my god.
Oh,
Spider-Man 3, Topher Grace is hilarious. Why don't you give a guy a break? Like,
See a chunk.
See a chunk. Oh my god. It's just, they're campy. And like, you know, people say, oh, those movies are so bad. And I'm like, no, they're not. Like you why don't you watch High Top Films review of all 3 of the movies? Like, that made me even love it even more because I never seen it in that way. So, you know, these movies like are really good. They could be comic book movies that suspend reality, but they can also be real, like how Spider-Man 2 was, and how somebody deals with the fact that they're a superhero. And every time, you know, a personal thing is happening, like High Top Film said, you know, something where he has to become Spider-Man happens. So, you know, these movies are just, they're really good. And, you know, The Amazing Spider-Man will never top them. And Tom Holland, his Spider-Man won't top it. It's just, you know, this is, whenever I think of Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire's face comes to the picture. And that's why Raimi Spider-Man is the best.
Awesome.
Nice.
Good answer.
Thanks for sharing that. What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, I'll start with my account. Yeah, I started August 19th, 2020. Almost coming up in a year soon.
Awesome.
I don't know. Me and my friends, we watched Spider-Man 3 probably the most because that movie was just so hilarious. And we always like rewatch the scene of Harry and Peter fighting in Harry's place. And I don't know. I just wanted to pick apart from that fight. every time the balcony scene came up, I just always laughed. It was hilarious.
Same.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's the reason why. And Screams came to me as soon as I made it. Like, I'm not even kidding. 2 minutes after I made it, he DM'd me. He was like, "Hey, I'm gonna be a Daily Raimi. You wanna join this like group chat we have?" This is before the counselor group chat, by the way. So it was just some random like Spider-Man group chat with like different Spider-Man accounts in there, and it was weird.
Yeah, I was
about,
there.
like, yeah, you were there. Yeah, there was only like, I don't know, 7 or 8 accounts maybe.
Nine there?
There's a couple, like you were one of the first ones, but obviously we'll get to that when I explain how I started.
Yeah. But what I love about the Raimi trilogy, I don't know, I just love the vibe of the movies. I love the feel. It just feels like those movies have a purpose. And the way Tobey plays Spider-Man is, I don't know, it's gonna be hard to top. And you can clearly tell Raimi just loves the character, the way he made those movies. They're just so special. And I think they're gonna be, timeless movies. You can, I don't think they're ever gonna go away. It just every time what Fruitcake said, every time I think of Spider-Man, Tobey and that suit and everything is like the first thing that pops up in my head. But they're great, special movies.
Awesome, great. Thanks for sharing that. What about you, Danny?
And so my account started on October 20th, 2019. It literally just started, like I started it before the Daily Raimis were even like a thing, before they were a movement. I started it because one time I was out with my girlfriend and my ex-girlfriend, but girlfriend at the time, but I was with her and a couple other friends, and we were out to dinner, and for some reason we just kept quoting "so good." Like we were at Olive Garden, we were like, "Hey, how's your drink?" "So good." "How's your pasta?" "So good." "How's the breadsticks?" And so on. We just all night we kept quoting that, and we were dying every time. It was one of those weird, like, there's a word for it where like just people can't stop laughing at something stupid. I can't think of it, but like it was just so funny. And I still, even though like I hate my ex-girlfriend, I still remember that night with just nothing but fondness. It was such a good night. So like about a few days later, I didn't expect to really take off with it. I thought I was going to do it like a couple days, but I just said originally it was actually called Harry Osborn saying "so good" every day. It was such a long and hard to say username. But then like to my surprise, in less than a week, I had over 200 followers. So I was like, all right, let's just see how far we can take this. And then I started doing more memes along with it instead of just a daily clip, and like I got more and more followers. And within about half a year, I had like 600 followers, and it was just never found a reason to stop. And then I knew there was a couple others, like Pizza Time Daily was a big one, probably still the biggest. Peter Screams and Peter Cries. I think those were the ones that were still around.
Jameson Laughs was also there.
That's right, he was.
Yeah, people always forget
that's probably the first I remember, but
I remember Peter Screams. Weirdly enough, he actually we don't follow each other on my personal account, but like I don't know, I kind of wonder if I know him personally, because like he was very relentless in trying to follow my personal IG account, but I wouldn't let him because I don't really let people I don't know follow me. But then he reached out to me on the Daily So Good, and he just brought me into this chat group, and he was like, "Hey, we should start the Daily Raimis." And I thought it was such a cool idea. It was just a nice way to bring people together over something that we love. And next thing I got my best friend in on it. He's Get Religion Daily. Get Religion is my best friend in real life.
Cool. Wow.
He had another daily account which was totally unrelated, where he posted.
He was the one with Harry getting clotheslined, wasn't he?
Originally he was Harry gets concussion every day.
Oh, I love that. I used to love that account a lot.
But he switched after it didn't grow. But yeah, he was an account where he posted. You ever seen that classic clip where it was like Kermit the Frog jumping off of the building, and he's like, "I'm going to Kermit suicide." He did that every day, and like he did it for almost a year. Got like less than 100 followers. So he was like, "You know what? I'm going to start Daily Raimi." And then in less than a day, with all the shout outs and all the stuff we had done, he had gotten like 500 followers in a day. So that was awesome. But yeah, so I never expected it to go this far. It was just an inside joke with me and a couple friends, and it still is. But I mean, now it's become this part of a huge movement. Like when I sort of faked people out that I was going to quit before day 500, I was genuinely moved by some of some of the messages I got in like my DMs. Like
That was
a couple
tragic,
people
man.
told me like
It was
yo
tragic.
man, like you are like the thing I look forward to most of every day, and like you make me smile. Like it's just my favorite thing. I always get a good laugh. And one dude was like, even like you helped me like stop myself from committing suicide. And I was just like, wow, I did not realize it was touching people like this. I mean, it's not like it's this national level thing, but you know, people
Yeah.
love it. And it kind of made me, you know, not to sound cheesy, but with great power comes great responsibility. I got something people love, I might as well keep it around. So
Awesome.
you know, as far as I know, I'm here to stay. And as far as the Raimi films, what they mean to me, that I could go for years and years and years. The biggest thing I remember about the Raimi films is like Spider-Man 2. Even though I actually have like a vague memory of actually seeing Spider-Man 1 in theaters when I was like 3, Spider-Man 2 is the first movie that I can like really remember like anticipating that film's release, watching the trailers, seeing the previews, and buying the merchandise. And like my mom and dad took me opening night. The air was just electric in that theater. We were all so excited. And like not just me, my parents loved it too. Like that was one of our family movies right there, was the Spider-Man trilogy. And it was just awesome. And that was like my first like surreal theatrical experience with Spider-Man 2. So I got a lot of nostalgia for it. But even just looking back on it, that's just an amazing movie. It's, you know, and I don't hate the MCU Spider-Man films. I think they're pretty good. I think they're decent for this generation. But like the Raimi films are just on a whole other level, because those right there, like those are films. And what I mean by that is just like those are very human stories. Like I think Fruitcake Norman put it there, like they're sort of isolated. They're not trying to build up universes, and like they felt way more human than any other superhero movie I've seen. You know, a guy dealing with just everyday problems is way more relatable than some guy, like, as much as I love Iron Man, but some guy who has a battery in his chest. Like, you know, I can relate to Spider-Man, and I did. Like, I was bullied in school relentlessly, and I always felt like, you know, in my head, like, man, I'm kind of like Spider-Man. Like I had this drive to do good despite people constantly wanting to put me down. So like, you know, and I still love those movies. Like I watch them through every couple months. And although I won't say that I love Spider-Man 3, because even when I was a kid, like I was 8 years old when that came out, I didn't hate it, but like just remember thinking like, man, that just wasn't really as good as I had hoped it'd be. Yeah. And you know, you can watch it and get a good laugh. It's funny, and it has great memes, but it's messy. But it's still like to me, it was still a very satisfying conclusion overall. I think the end, if that was where the trilogy was going to end, that final shot where at least he makes up with MJ, that was nice, and it left me satisfied. Would love to see Spider-Man 4 somehow, but I'm not that optimistic. But yeah, I mean, I even remember one time when I was in 5th grade, we during winter break was 2 weeks long. I watched Spider-Man 2 literally every night that entire break. And then on top of that, the day before we were supposed to go back, we got hit with this massive, massive blizzard that took us out of school for another 2 weeks. So for 4 weeks straight, I watched Spider-Man 2 every night. And each time, like, I loved it. I never got tired of it. I played the Spider-Man 2 video game, all the Raimi Spider-Man video games I played. Spider-Man 2 just was the only really great one, but I love it, and it's a part of me. Like, it's really what like I'm a huge, massive cinephile. I review films on Instagram, and the Spider-Man trilogy is really what sort of launched my love for cinema in general. Like, just looking at how those films were made. I used to watch like the bonus features and was really into like just the filmmaking behind it, and the director, Sam Raimi, is just a great director in general. And yeah, like, just they'll always have a special place in my heart. So cool. I rambled.
Oh no, you're good, man. That was great to hear. Awesome. Yeah, love that story there, and cool reason it's cool to hear about your account and how much that touches people and stuff. I think that's great. Well, there's our plots there. Maybe Sam Raimi will give us a call sometime and want to take one of those plots, turn him into Spider-Man 4. I mean, he's coming back, so we'll see. Just kidding. But
I'm excited to see what he does with Doctor Strange.
Me too. But anyway, I do want to thank you guys for coming on. If each of you just want to quickly shout out your account or any other accounts you want us to check out around Instagram or any other app, you can start first. Fruitcake Norman there.
All right, guys, make sure to go follow at Fruitcake Norman Daily. It is the funniest account. I'm just kidding. Daily so good takes that. Literally, I made the greatest 200 special of all time. So go watch that on my 200th day. It took me a week to make. But yeah, everybody go follow Fruitcake Norman Daily. And yeah, that's all I got.
What about you, Ryan?
You can just find me at Harry Hits Balcony Daily. Just go and follow that account. I'm close to 800 followers, so it's nice. But yeah.
Cool. And then Danny.
So go ahead and follow me over at the Daily So Good. Got a little over 1,300 followers, but also just definitely follow any Daily Raimi that you find. I think they all deserve your support. And then also, if you love movies like me, you can follow my movie review channel, Danny Boy Goes to Movies, also on Instagram.
Cool. Well, so guys, having you guys on. Anybody out there checking this out, we've done another video similar where we got a few other Daily Raimis on here, some other accounts. We talked about kind of the other Spider-Man Raimi movies and reviewed them and stuff. So make sure you guys check that out and check out the channel. Make sure to like and subscribe. Comment below what you guys think of you would like to see in a Spider-Man 4 movie. And you guys all have a great week.